Welcome to the Left Library, where we simplify political philosophy, political economy, and political science. Today we're diving into Alexandra Kollontai's influential essay, The Social Basis of the Woman Question, written in 1909. This work examines the intersection of socialism and feminism, advocating for women's liberation as a key objective of the broader socialist movement. This text offers crucial insights into the relationship between gender equality and social transformation. In this episode, we'll explore several key concepts from the social basis of the woman question. Firstly, we'll discuss Kollontai's argument that women's liberation is intrinsically linked to the struggle for socialism. Secondly, we'll delve into Kollontai's critique of bourgeois feminism and her emphasis on class struggle as essential to achieving true gender equality. Then we'll explore Kollontai's analysis of economic independence as a fundamental component of women's liberation, followed by the role of the socialist state in women's emancipation. And finally, we'll discuss Kollontai's ideas on how socialism would transform family structures and social relations to promote gender equality. The intersection of socialism and feminism, Kollontai begins by asserting that the liberation of women cannot be fully realized within the confines of a capitalist society. She argues that the oppression of women is deeply rooted in the capitalist mode of production, which perpetuates economic and social inequalities. Kollontai writes, "The woman question is a social question. To solve it, one must understand that it is part of the general social question, a product of the struggle between capital and labor, P3. Kollontai emphasizes that the fight for women's rights is inseparable from the broader struggle for socialism. She believes that only a socialist society, which abolishes private property and class divisions, can create the conditions necessary for genuine gender equality. In this context, the liberation of women is not a separate issue, but an integral part of the socialist revolution." Kollontai calls for the unity of the working class movement and the women's movement, arguing that their goals are mutually reinforcing. This perspective challenges the notion that gender equality can be achieved through legal reforms and gradual improvements within the capitalist framework. Kollontai insists that such reforms are insufficient because they do not address the underlying economic and social structures that perpetuate women's oppression. Instead, she advocates for a revolutionary transformation of society, which would fundamentally alter the conditions under which women live and work. Critique of bourgeois feminism. Kollontai critiques bourgeois feminism for its focus on achieving equality within the existing capitalist system, rather than challenging the system itself. She argues that bourgeois feminists primarily represent the interests of middle and upper-class women, who seek to improve their own status without addressing the broader issues of economic and social inequality. Kollontai writes, "Bourgeois feminists are striving for equality with men within the limits of their own class. They do not understand or do not want to understand that the emancipation of women is inseparable from the emancipation of the working class." P12. According to Kollontai, bourgeois feminism often overlooks the specific struggles of working class women, who face not only gender-based discrimination but also economic exploitation. She criticizes bourgeois feminists for focusing on issues like suffrage and educational opportunities, while ignoring the harsh realities of labor exploitation, poverty, and lack of social support that affect the majority of women. Kollontai argues that true gender equality can only be achieved through the overthrow of capitalism and the establishment of a socialist society. Furthermore, Kollontai highlights the dangers of co-optation, where the demands of the bourgeois feminists are integrated into the capitalist system, thus neutralizing their revolutionary potential. She warns that without addressing the root causes of women's oppression, such reforms may create the illusion of progress while leaving the fundamental structures of inequality intact. Kollontai's critique calls for a feminism that is deeply intertwined with class struggle. Recognizing that the liberation of women requires the dismantling of capitalist relations of production. Economic independence and women's liberation. Kollontai emphasizes the importance of economic independence as a cornerstone of women's liberation. She argues that women's economic dependence on men is a major source of their oppression, as it limits their autonomy and subjects them to various forms of exploitation and abuse. Kollontai writes, "Without economic independence, women cannot be free. They remain dependent on their husbands, fathers, or other male relatives, which perpetuates their subordination." p. 21. To achieve economic independence, Kollontai advocates for the integration of women into the workforce and the socialization of domestic labor. She argues that women's participation in productive labor is essential for their liberation, as it enables them to contribute to society on an equal footing with men. However, she also recognizes that simply integrating women into the workforce is not enough. The conditions of work and the division of labor must also be transformed to ensure equality. Kollontai calls for the socialization of domestic labor, which involves transferring responsibilities such as childcare, cooking, and cleaning from the private sphere to the public sphere. This would entail the establishment of communal facilities such as nurseries, kitchens, and laundries, which would be collectively owned and operated. By socializing domestic labor, women would be freed from the double burden of paid work and unpaid household chores, allowing them to participate fully in social, political, and economic life. Kollontai's emphasis on economic independence underscores the need for a comprehensive approach to women's liberation that addresses both the economic and social dimensions of oppression. She argues that achieving true gender equality requires not only changes in the workplace, but also a radical rethinking of the organization of domestic life and the division of labor within the family. The role of the socialist state in women's emancipation. Kollontai envisions a crucial role for the socialist state in creating the conditions necessary for women's emancipation. She argues that the state must actively intervene to dismantle the structures of inequality and provide the resources and support needed for women's liberation. Kollontai writes, "The socialist state must take on the responsibility of ensuring that women are freed from the conditions that perpetuate their oppression." p. 35. This includes implementing policies that promote women's economic independence, such as equal pay for equal work, maternity leave, and access to education and training opportunities. Kollontai also advocates for state-supported childcare facilities, healthcare services, and other social programs that would support women's participation in the workforce and public life. By providing these services, the socialist state would help to create a more equitable society where women can thrive. Furthermore, Kollontai emphasizes the importance of legal reforms to protect women's rights and promote gender equality. She calls for the abolition of discriminatory laws and the establishment of legal frameworks that ensure women's equal rights in all areas of life. This includes not only workplace protections, but also measures to address issues such as domestic violence, reproductive rights, and family law. Kollontai's vision of the socialist state extends beyond economic and legal measures to include cultural and ideological transformation. She argues that the state must play an active role in challenging patriarchal norms and promoting a culture of equality and respect. This involves education and public awareness campaigns, as well as efforts to transform cultural institutions such as media, literature, and the arts. Kollontai believes that achieving true gender equality requires a comprehensive approach that addresses both the material and ideological dimensions of women's oppression. Transformation of family and social relations. Kollontai argues that socialism would fundamentally transform family structures and social relations to promote gender equality. She critiques the traditional nuclear family as a site of women's oppression, where they are confined to domestic roles and subjected to the authority of men. Kollontai writes, "The family, in its bourgeois form, is an institution that perpetuates the subordination of women and the division of labor based on gender." p. 42. In a socialist society, Kollontai envisions a reorganization of family life that frees women from the constraints of domesticity and promotes egalitarian relationships. This involves the socialization of domestic labor and the establishment of communal living arrangements that support collective child rearing and household management. By sharing these responsibilities, women and men would be able to participate more equally in all aspects of life, including work, education, and political activity. Kollontai also highlights the importance of transforming social relations to promote solidarity and cooperation rather than competition and individualism. She argues that socialism would foster a sense of community and collective responsibility, where individuals work together to meet common needs and support each other's well-being. This contrasts with the capitalist emphasis on private property and individual success, which often leads to social fragmentation and inequality. Furthermore, Kollontai emphasizes the need for a cultural revolution that challenges traditional gender roles and promotes new norms of equality and mutual respect. She calls for the creation of educational programs, media representations, and cultural practices that reflect and reinforce the values of a socialist society. By transforming the material and cultural conditions of life, Kollontai believes that socialism can create the foundation for genuine gender equality and women's liberation. In conclusion, Alexandra Kollontai's The Social Basis of the Woman Question is a foundational text for understanding the intersection of socialism and feminism. For those new to Kollontai's ideas, it offers a comprehensive introduction to key concepts, such as the relationship between gender equality and social transformation, the critique of bourgeois feminism, and the importance of economic independence for women's liberation. For those familiar with these ideas, it provides deeper insights into the role of the socialist state, the transformation of family and social relations, and the strategies for achieving genuine gender equality. Kollontai challenges us to rethink the connections between economic, social, and gender inequalities, emphasizing that true liberation requires a comprehensive and revolutionary approach. Her analysis underscores the importance of integrating the struggle for women's rights into the broader movement for socialism, recognizing that the two are inseparable. So, what do you think about Kollontai's arguments on the intersection of socialism and feminism? Had you ever heard of bourgeois feminism? How do you see her ideas applying to contemporary struggles for gender equality? We'd love to hear your thoughts and perspectives on these questions. Drop your comments below and let's start a conversation. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Alexandra Kollontai's The Social Basis of the Woman Question. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and fellow enthusiasts of political philosophy, political economy, and political science. Don't forget to subscribe to the Left Library for more in-depth reviews and discussions on influential works in these fields. Click the notification bell so you never miss an update. We simplify political philosophy, political economy, and political science to make them accessible and engaging for everyone. Thank you again for watching, and remember, understanding the theories behind social change is the first step towards making a real difference. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep striving for a better world.